This is Joe Osmick with Environmental Services Division at Coachella Valley Water District. And for the next couple of minutes, we're going to be talking about site-specific chemical training. And this is a necessity. You have to have this training because the state of California requires it. We have environmental business plans at the facilities you go to do your day-to-day tasks and maintenance. We are going to have a quiz at the end of this training, and it's going to summarize some of the things that we talk about. It's easy quiz. You all get through it if you pay attention. When you do the quiz, go ahead and turn in those forms to your supervisor. Your supervisor will then turn in your rosters and your quizzes to me, and you'll get credit for the course. Any questions, just feel free to give me a call. My extension is there as well as my email address, and I'm always available to answer any questions, comments, or concerns you might have. Okay, so for the next couple of minutes, our agenda is going to basically review these four main points. We're going to talk about safety data sheets and how the SDSs are organized. We'll talk about the typical chemicals that you encounter on a day-to-day basis, doing your tasks, doing your maintenance, going out to the sites. We'll refer to NFPA, National Fire Protection Association information. NFPA is a nonprofit, and they provide a lot of support to industry in developing a lot of the health and safety information we're going to talk about in the SDSs. And lastly, right to know, because you're an employee of Coachella Valley Water District, you should and do have access to SDSs. I'm going to walk you through how to get those SDSs if you ever have questions about a particular material. Okay, so let's get started and going through the information. So we're going to review safety data sheets, and there's 16 elements to the safety data sheet, or the SDS. These are all equally important. For the consideration, the amount of time we have and looking at the safety information, we're going to be focusing on 2, 4, and 5, and I've circled them here for you. Hazard identification, first aid measures, and firefighting measures. So I'm looking at the chemicals on site. We typically exposed to would be diesel fuel, unleaded fuel, propane, and sodium hypochlorite or bleach. So Coachella Valley Water District Environmental Services wants to make sure that you're protected and you're safe when you're out in the field. And we're going through a couple of materials that you could be exposed to. And if exposed, you want to make sure that if any material gets into your eyes, that you flush it out for at least 15 minutes. If it gets on your skin, obviously remove the contaminated clothing and shoes and wash the exposed area as quickly as you can with soap and water. You don't want to obviously inhale the material, but if you do inhale any material, you want to get some fresh air and seek medical attention if there's long-term exposure, okay? As far as firefighting measures, you can use water for any fires. Fire extinguisher that's located at the facilities you go to. And always remember to wear proper PPE, safety glasses, steel toe boots, hard hats, and your gloves, your safety gloves. Hazards, the biggest hazard with diesel fuel is the flash point of 125 degrees. Can cause damage to organs. It's fatal if swallowed. And some of the chemical constituents, one being benzene, can cause cancer. Further information, if you're interested, is available in the safety data sheet. And if you have any further questions, you want to walk through those safety data sheets, I'd be happy to review the information further with you in detail. If you get gasoline in your eyes, even though you're wearing your PPE, again, you want to flush your eyes with water for at least 15 minutes, okay? If you don't have eye wash kits, you probably should have portable ones with you, either at the facility or in your vehicles. That's a recommendation. Remove contaminated clothing and shoes and wash the exposed area. I know I'm kind of stating the obvious here, but still it's a good refresher and reminder to go through this information. You don't want to expose yourself to inhaling this material, obviously, and obviously you don't want to ingest the material. As far as firefighting measures, if it's manageable, you can use a dry chemical fire extinguisher, which are located at all the locations. You can also use water. As far as hazards, the way the SDS presents the information, it is a cancer-causing material. Benzene is the chemical that is of issue in gasoline. It's highly flammable. The flash point is below 40 degrees, minus 49. Harmful if swallowed. Can affect blood, kidneys, a lot of internal organs if ingested, central nervous system, eye, lens, or cornea also. So that's why we're referring to the exposure and making sure that you can rinse your eyes with clean water. And vapor can cause issues with flash fire, obviously. Propane. Most of the mileposts do have propane. If exposed, again, flush your eyes with water for 15 minutes. The biggest thing to make note of as far as hazards with propane is that it is heavier than air and oxygen. So it's going to sink to low-lying areas. Okay. Extremely flammable, a flash point of minus 156 degrees Fahrenheit. So you want to be cautious in firefighting measures. Only try to attempt to put out the fire if it's manageable. If it's uncontrollable fire, you just want to clear the area out. There's not much you can do on your own, obviously, in dealing with the propane fire. It's extremely dangerous. So just clear the area and any combustible materials that could be in the immediate vicinity of propane fire. Sodium hypochlorite or bleach. Again, I know this is repetitive. Gets in your eyes. You want to flush your eyes immediately with large amounts of clean water for at least 15 minutes. Remove your contaminated clothing. Wash the exposed area thoroughly with soap and water. You want to minimize the amount of inhalation and exposure to bleach. And obviously, you don't want to ingest the material. Seek medical attention if for some reason you do ingest that material. As far as fires, you shouldn't really be coming across a fire in and of itself of bleach, but if it does react with incompatible materials, you want to make sure that you use dry chemical fire extinguisher, which are the ones that are located at all the facilities. Can cause severe skin burns, so be aware of that, and the eye damage that we refer to in taking precautions and flushing your eyes out. So important information to be aware of when it comes to these placards. I know you've seen these in a lot of locations. It is a state regulation where you store more than 55 gallons, 500 pounds, or 200 cubic feet of hazardous material. This placard is required. It's known as an NFPA, or National Fire Protection Association placard. And it's broken down into 4 components, and you see them there: red, blue, white, and yellow. The health hazard is a relative reference to tell you how dangerous material is. 0 being non-hazardous, 4 being extremely lethal or deadly. Chlorine has a rating of 4 because it is extremely dangerous material to work with and have stored. Fire hazards, things along the lines of acetylene or propane with very low flash points, will have a high rating of 4. Something that's unstable, something similar to acetylene possibly, that can detonate when mixing with incompatible materials or even oxygen, will have a high rating of 4. And then below in the white box, qualifiers, as far as things that are water reactive or an oxidizer. Chlorine is an oxidizer, so if you go into an area where chlorine is being used or stored, you'll see the OX as a qualifier for a specific hazard. Important information to be aware of is access to SDSs. You have the right to look at any safety data sheet related to chemicals you work with or could possibly be exposed to. The way to access those SDSs is to go to your computer programs that you have available to you, open up those programs and go to MSDS Right to Know. That's one way of accessing SDSs. I'll show you another way to do that in the next slide. One thing I like to have, I keep it on my phone for home and at work, is Cameo. And I've given you the website address there. It is a government domain. It doesn't cost anything to use. It's free of charge. And the nice thing about this, it gives you really abbreviated information that allows you to identify hazards and response recommendations related to hazardous materials. And you can basically build a library by including the chemicals that you want to have in your portfolio and saving them to My Chemicals, and you'll build your own library. And I have a suite of chemicals that I, reference quite a bit, and it's nice to have this information at your fingertips. Anyway, it's just another source that you can use um, to give you a quick reference guide to information that you might find useful. But really, the main way to access SDS is through CEWD's intranet. And if you haven't done this, you go to the desktop, and you'll go to the information on your desktop and click on links and resources in the upper right-hand corner where safety data sheets are available to you. When you open up that portal, you'll see a library, a list of all the chemicals that we store and use between domestic and sanitary. Type in the chemical that you're interested in, and it'll pick up the SDS. You click on that, and you're able to look at that, print it out, and use it for your information that you need. So, like I said at the beginning, if you have any questions, comments, you need support, you have my information there, josmic@cdwd.org. You have my phone number and extension. Please feel free to contact me anytime. I'm here to help you. I'm a resource to you, available to answer any questions, work through any situations or issues you might have. I appreciate the time you've taken today. And this is a regulatory requirement, but more importantly, it's to protect you and make sure you're safe at work and when you go home. Okay. Have any questions, give me a call.